In this video, we're going to look at how to complete the square. This is another method that we can use to solve quadratics, but it also doubles as a method that we can use to sketch quadratics. This video in particular is just going to focus on how we can use it to solve equations. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Iannazzoni. I used to work as an engineer for a defence company, and I've since left that to start a career in tutoring. I make these videos so that VCE students can do the best they can in math methods. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Put simply, any quadratic can be converted from a general form quadratic into a completed square form using the following conversion formula. This might look like there's a lot going on, but it really is just a plug and play. Let's check an example. Suppose we have the following quadratic equation. To complete the square, we need to know what a, b, and c are. And the way we do that is by comparing the equation that we have to the generic quadratic equation. By observation, we can see that a equals 1, b equals 3, and c equals 2. Now that we know that, we can just plug that information into the completing the square formula and then just simplify the results. Doing it this way means that we just have to use some algebra to rearrange for x, rather than having to rely on the null factor law like we had to before. We start by adding a quarter to both sides of the equation to get the squared term on its own, and then we cancel out that squared term by square rooting both sides of the equation. Just remember that whenever you take the square root of a number, both the positive and negative solution are valid. From there, we just subtract 3 over 2 from both sides. When you have a plus minus in your equation, it tends to be easiest to just split that plus minus into 2 separate equations, one with the positive and one with the negative, and then you just solve each of those individually. Not all quadratics are solvable. Let's see what happens if you try to solve one that can't be solved. Completing the square still works fine. We just got to figure out what a, b, and c are, substitute into the equation, and then simplify the results. So far, so good. Now, let's try solve for x. Well, we're going to start as we did before, by subtracting 3 over 4 from both sides. It's the next step that's the issue. If we want to free the x from the square term, we need to square root both sides of the equation. But if we do that, we would be square rooting a negative number, and that has no real solutions. And for this very reason, this quadratic is not solvable. As a final note, if you are in a tech active environment and you have to complete the square, then you can actually get the TI Nspire to do it for you. The function is found under Menu, Algebra, Complete the Square. You just need to tell it the function and then comma variable. For example, if your function is f of x, then you do comma x. If your function is f of b, then you do comma b. The Casio doesn't have an equivalent function. This isn't a huge deal because it's very rare you'll ever have to even complete the square in a tech active environment, but it is one point in the direction of maybe buying a TI Nspire instead of a Casio. If you found this video helpful, then you should consider joining my free community. I host a Q&A call every week to personally help you through any of your specific questions, and you'll also get access to more resources like this, including written and recorded lecture content, as well as practice exams and SACs with detailed solutions. It's pretty cool, you should check it out. I'll see you there.